This is the Pegasus. This is the ultimate guide to how to never lose in tic-tac-toe. Presented to you by an expert who has years of experience playing the game. Since I was a little kid, I've always been interested in tic-tac-toe. I played tons of games. I've seen all the possible games. And I know all the possible moves. And I'm here to show you all the best moves in each position, starting from the corner game, middle or center game, and then finally the side game, because it's the most complicated. That's why a lot of people avoid playing it, at least from my experience. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with the corner game. Let's say your opponent places it here. Or let's say you place it here. Your opponent places it here. You place it on the opposite corner, bottom right. Your opponent blocks. You place it on the center. All of a sudden you got a two-way win. Or you can also march forward. And what I mean by march forward is simply place it on the center. Right, your opponent blocks. All of a sudden you got a two-way win. You see? Same goes for this edge. You march forward, you got a two-way win. You place it on the opposite top left corner, all of a sudden you got a two-way win, either on the center, either on the bottom left corner. Let's place it on the center, you see you got a two-way win. But what if your opponent places on the corner? The top left corner. You can either march forward, two-way win. You can place it here. The bottom left, bottom right corner, your opponent blocks. And all of a sudden you got a two-way win. Or you can place it on the diagonally opposite corner. Here. Your opponent has to block and you got a two-way win. Same goes for this corner. The bottom right. Let me show you. You see? Here, 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 here. You see? Here, 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 blocks. Now what if your opponent places it on the opposite corner, diagonally? Now you can't place it on the center, on the top center, because you're gonna have to block your opponent, and you don't have a two-way win. Let's say your opponent places it here. You see, it leads to a draw with perfect play. So what are you gonna do? Same for this. You block, and it's no longer a forced win. So what are you gonna do in this case? You can place it here on the center. Let's say your opponent places it here. You got a two-way win. You see? Or you can place it on these corners, the other corners, remaining corners. Here, you see? All of a sudden you place it on this left corner. Only one left. This one. He blocks and you win. You see? So the only way to not lose, if your opponent places it on the corner first, is to place it on the middle. Now if you can either play normally, I know what I mean by play normally, try to go for a 3 in a row. You place it here, he blocks. You place it here, he blocks. You see? It leads to a draw with perfect play. Same for here. As you can see, tic-tac-toe is all about memorization. The more you play, the more you learn. And you should always try to play all the three: side game, middle game, and corner game. Not just play one. This is a lot of mistakes people make, and that prevents them from like mastering the game, totally knowing about the game, knowing everything about the game. They avoid the side game. If you avoid the side game, how are you supposed to know like the best possible moves in the side game? How are you supposed to understand the side game? Anyways, so let's say your opponent plays on the middle again. Now in this case, you can place it on the opposite top left corner, but it doesn't give you a two-way win. There are two ways that make grant you a two-way win. If your opponent makes a mistake, let's start with the first one. Either of these two edges, like the center bottom or the center left. Let's take the center left. If your opponent places it here, you got a two-way win. If your opponent places it here, you got a two-way win. So the ways to avoid this is to either place it here. Sorry. Is to either place it here on the top left corner, or here, or here. You can also go there. You can also go here. Now this can actually give you a two-way win. It's like you block the opponent from getting a two-way win, but it also like gives you the chance to get a two-way win. Let's see if your opponent plays it here. You got a two-way win. So your opponent gotta place it here. Or here. Or here. Okay, now back to this position. If your opponent places it here, you got a two-way win. So your opponent gotta either place it here, or here. As you can see, tic-tac-toe is all about memorization. Now the best move in this case, like if your opponent places it on the middle, the actual best move that may grant you a two-way win is to place it on the diagonally opposite corner, here. If your opponent places it on any of the edges, you get a two-way win. Let's say he places it, I mean the corners, not the edges. Man, I gotta focus more. I mean if he places it on any of the corners. Either this corner, like the bottom right, or the top left. Let's say he places it on the bottom right. You got a two-way win. Same for the top left. But if your opponent places it on the edges, then you can no longer force a win. Let's see, he places it here. You block, he blocks, you block, he blocks, and you block. It's a tie. It's a draw. It's a draw. Same goes for this edge. It's the same thing. Okay, now that we're done with the corner game, let's get to the middle or center game. If your opponent places it here in the middle, if you place it on any of these edges, your opponent can force a two-way win. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent goes in any of these corners. Let's say he places it here. All of a sudden it's a two-way win. Here, here, here. Here, here. You place it on Let's say you place it on this edge, on this corner, sorry. It's a two-way win. It's a two-way win. You see, any corner you place it in, it grants you a two-way win. As you can see. But what if your opponent places it on the corner? You can either play normally, try to get 3 in a row. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. As you can see, you can either play normally or... But the best move here is to place it on this corner. The bottom left corner. This can grant you a two-way win if your opponent makes a mistake. If you place it on any of these edges, you can still get a two-way win. Let's say you place it here. All of a sudden you got a two-way win. You see? Or let's say you place it here. All of a sudden you got a two-way win. So what he gotta do is to place it on any of these 2 remaining corners. The bottom right or the top left. Let's say top left. See, that's the only way that he can force a draw in this case. Okay, I hope the middle game is clear. Let's get to the side game, the most complicated. Let's say you place it here. If your opponent places it on any of the squares except the center opposite, or these 2 squares with these 2 corners next to the O, or the middle, you can force a win. Let's say your opponent places it here. You go in this corner. He blocks, all of a sudden you got a two-way win. You see? You just march forward. Just think about marching forward. Or on the opposite, like on this direction. If he places it here, let's say he places it here. Same. He blocks. Two-way win. In these directions. Please, you see? Just demonstrating like how it's easy to win. You see, just think, just to avoid complexity, just for the sake of avoiding complexity. As I said, march in this direction. Always try to march in this direction. Always try to march like it's easier to see that it's a win. Like to avoid complexity, to avoid making any mistake. Just march in this direction always. Do not try to march like to the X, if that makes sense. Opposite direction of the X. It's like pulling away from the X, if that makes sense. Okay. What if your opponent plays it on one of these 2 corners? Let's say here. Or the opposite, like bottom right corner. You can do the same. Pull away. All of a sudden you got a two-way win. You see? It's the same. But no, the only way your opponent can force a draw is if you place it on the corner and the other areas that I mentioned, the other squares I mentioned. Let's start with the corner. You can either play normally, try to get 3 in a row, and it's going to end in a draw. Or what you can do is try to go for a two-way win. And it will grant you a two-way win if your opponent makes a mistake. Let's start with the first one. The first move is to go here on any of these corners. The bottom right, that's the first two-way win move. The bottom right, the top right. Let's go on the top right. This is the same position. If you remember, this is the same position as the corner one. I've gone through this position in the corner. It's the same. If you really look at it, a lot of position actually replay in tic-tac-toe. So it's a lot of less position than you actually think. It's just like mirror positions. You go through a lot of same positions. Anyways, as I already explained this position. If your opponent places it here, two-way win. Your opponent places it here, two-way win. And to avoid this, you can either place it here, place it here, place it here, or place it here. But the best move your opponent can do is to place it on any of those two edges on the center. Let's see your opponent places it here. If you place it here, your opponent can force a two-way win. If you place it here, your opponent gets a two-way win. So to avoid this, you gotta either place it here on the top left corner. It leads to a draw with perfect play. Or you can place it here. Either there, on the top right, or the bottom left. Let's say the top right. Same goes for the bottom left. It leads to a draw with perfect play. Okay. Now your opponent can force a draw by playing it on another square, which is the center bottom square. This square. If this square, then you can't force a win. I mean, you can do moves, but you're not gonna win 100%. You can either, in this case, you can either try to go for a three in a row. You block here. Your opponent blocks, you block, he blocks, and that leads to a draw. Or you can go for three moves. They may give you a two-way win. Your opponent makes a mistake. Let's start with the first move. Here. And this is actually the best move in this case. This is the best move. Well, let's start with it anyways. If your opponent either places it here or the other corner that's next to the O, your opponent might get a two-way win. So what you gotta do to avoid this? If you place it on any of these corners, except this, in any of these squares, except the corners next to the center top X, you're gonna lose. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent can force a two-way win by going here. You see? Let's say you place it. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent can force a two-way win. Okay. So what are you gonna do in this case? You place it here. Your opponent can force a two-way win. You place it here. Your opponent gets a two-way win. So what are you gonna do in this case is to place it on these corners, as I mentioned. Either this one, that one, or this one, as you can see. Okay. Another move your opponent may get a two-way win is if he places it here. If he places it here, same, you gotta place it on one of these two corners. It's next to the top center O. Either here or here. It's the same. One advice I'm gonna give you is if you're sometimes lost in these complex positions, you gotta use your logic. You just gotta use your logic. You only memorize like the key, like the key, you know what I'm saying, like the key moves. What I'm gonna do in the counter first moves. After that, you play with the logic. You know what I'm saying, blocking. Does your opponent have a chance to get a two-way win in sometimes position? You know what I'm saying? Like for example, in this position. Your opponent's blocks by placing it here. You can get a two-way win. You can get a two-way win if you place it, let's say for example here. You see, you can get a two-way win. So you always gotta use your logic. You know what I'm saying? As I said, you gotta place it on either of these two. And these two squares and you're good to go. You can force a draw. Let me think if there is any square. Let's see if you place it here. Does it lead to a draw? Let's see. It doesn't lead to a draw. You see? It does not lead to a draw. Place it on this square. Let's see if you place it on this square. Is there any other square that can... No. I don't think there is. Only the ones I mentioned, I think. So I was right. Here? No. It's the same one. Let's see. I think that's it. Okay, so the other, let's get to the other move. I sometimes get lost in the side game. It's too complex actually. So you just gotta like play the obvious moves that you think are right. Like just try to avoid the complexity. Just, you know what I'm saying, the best move, you know what I'm saying? You see that's clear, that's obvious. Is here. You see? This one is obvious. Because you block him, you can see that he's trying to put a no in here to get a two-way win. So it's obvious. That's what I recommend. Always go for the obvious moves. Like guarantee you a draw, you know what I'm saying? Try to avoid complexity as much as possible. Always go for the easy moves that secure the draw. That's all I gotta say. If you play second, you go against like these type of moves. Always try to go for the easy moves that secure a draw. I don't know what I did there, man. Let's reply the position. Yeah. What is this? Here. Let's play the same position. Here. Yeah, always try to go for the obvious moves. Even if you go there, you gotta use your logic. If your opponent goes there, how can you block him from getting two-way win? Because I see a two-way win. You can either go there or here. As I said, you can either go there or there in the middle. Let's see. Or here, simply here. Let's see if there's any other move that I might have forget. What if you go here? Yeah, as you can see, that also grants a draw. Sorry. If your opponent goes there, I think you can also do the same. Go here, here, yeah, even in this position. It works even in this position. That's some complex ways to draw the game. I wouldn't recommend this for beginners. Even for me, it takes time, like to figure this one out, man. I would suggest going for the obvious moves. Anyways, let's go for the other way. They can force a two-way win. The other way is to go here. If your opponent, let's say, plays it here, two-way win. You see? If your opponent that's it. If he plays it on these two edges, either the center right or the center left. So to avoid this, you gotta either place it here, you see, same, or here, or you can place it here. Let's see. You place it. You can place it on either like the bottom right or the bottom left. Let's take the bottom left. You gotta watch out for the two-way win chance. Because if you place it, let's say here, your opponent's got a two-way win. So you see, you gotta always use your logic. Your opponent places it here. And I'm saying you place it here, let's say, it leads to a draw. Sorry, what was that? I did not focus. You place it here. I really don't know what was there, it did not focus. But it leads to a draw, as you can see. Here. Either here, you can also place it here. See, it's getting too complex even for me, man. Okay, so here. You can also place it here. As you can see, a lot of positions are actually like repeating. Here, here, here. Let's see if there is any other way. Here. Here. Yeah, here. It grants a draw. Okay, that's it. Now let's move to the best move in this position. The best move. The best move in this position is to place it on these corners next to the O. Either the top right or the top left. Let's place it on the top left. If your opponent places it here, for example, you can force a two-way win by going here. The bottom left corner, you see, your opponent blocks, you got a two-way win. Okay. If your opponent places it here, same, two-way win. You see? If your opponent places it here, two-way win. I haven't gone through the edge on this move. Let me go through to the edge. Like I haven't taken it, but it's the same. It's the same. Just the position repeated. I want to talk about this. If you place it on the edge and your opponent places it on the center, you place it on the opposite edge. Your opponent can force a two-way win. That's actually the worst move in this case to play. But it's the same. I haven't gone through it, but it's the same. You can tell it's the same. Okay, so let's get back to the position. So if your opponent places on these squares, you can force a win. There is also this square. If your opponent places it here, You do the same. You go on this corner, the bottom left. Your opponent blocks, you got a two-way win. So if you place it on these corners that I mentioned, your opponent can force a win. So what are you gonna do? You either try to go for a 3 in a row, as I play normally, and that leads to a draw with perfect play. You see? Or you can go for the two-way wins. Let me grant you a win if your opponent makes a mistake. Let's start with the first one. The first move is to go here. As you can see, it's the same position repeating. What you gonna do? It's like similar positions repeating. So what are you gonna do in this case? You either place it here, or you place it here. Let's see if there's any other move. There. I don't know. Are there any other moves? I don't think there are any other moves. Yeah. If your opponent, let's say for example, places it here, you got a two-way win. Your opponent places it here, you got a two-way win. Let's see your opponent places it here. Two-way win. You see? Okay, let's move to the next move. We actually haven't gone through a move. I figured out a move. Yeah, another move to avoid this two-way win. To block your opponent from getting two-way wins, to place it here. I totally forgot about this move. Yeah, this move. Place it here. On the bottom center. If your opponent places it here, see? It's a draw. Now what if your opponent places it here? This may grant him a two-way win if you make a mistake. This is another move. Here. By going here, he can still get a two-way win. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent got a two-way win. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent got a two-way win. Let's say you place it here. Your opponent got a two-way win. So you got three actually. You actually got 3 squares to avoid this two-way win. Either the middle, which is the most obvious and the simplest, which I would recommend going for, or you can go in either of these 2 squares. Either here, or here. See? But the best move in this situation, the best move, is to go here. On the bottom left corner. This also grants you a two-way win if your opponent makes a mistake. Let's see, there are only 2 ways to counter this. Let's start with the ways to counter. There are only 2 ways. Placing it on the middle, center, which leads to a draw. Sorry, I made a mistake here, sorry. Because I'm playing with O and X at the same time and it's confusing. Yeah. So as I said, either placing it on the middle or placing it on this edge. The bottom center. This also leads to a draw. With perfect play. If your opponent plays it on any of the other squares, you can force a win. Let's say your opponent plays it here. Two-way win. See? Let's say your opponent plays it here. Two-way win. Let's say your opponent places it here. Two-way win. Let's say your opponent places it here. Two-way win. As you can see, I've gone through all the possible like moves in all possible situations. I showed you all the possible moves. Corner game, starting from the corner game, middle or center game, and then side game. So if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, share. You know what I'm saying? I wish you good luck on becoming an expert in tic-tac-toe. I wish you the best. All you gotta do is practice. Memorize what I said and practice. Play against an unbeatable computer. I would recommend this site that's called Ostermuller, Tic-Tac-Toe Ostermuller. It got 4 levels of difficulty. From novice, intermediate, advanced, and expert. Play with expert. Play with expert. Try to draw as many games as you can. That's what I would recommend. Practice makes perfect at the end of the day. Anyways, that's it. I'm out. Peace.